Howdy, I'm back. Trying a new experimental camera angle. Feeling a little artsy right now because I got it on this is the only place that's like good to put this thing in here, unless I'm recording on my bed, which it's a little too intimate. So I'm gonna be recording in my chair, so that way it doesn't get weird. So, anyways, I want to make a video today just talking about some of my failures this year. I think it's good to be honest. You have to have an honest assessment of how things are going. You can't say things are all good, they're all bad. So I had a fucking great year. I got to be honest with you, it was fucking awesome. I hope next year's as good as this one was. But we did have some problems this year, and I think in the interest of fairness, it makes sense to address it, go over it, talk about it. Because I like to be entirely transparent about the things that I'm up to, especially for people that are aspiring to do the shit that I do, or anything even close to it. It's not easy. It's not always. You don't have guaranteed success, especially when you don't have a lot of money, like me. And you have to be ready for failure. I mean, it's a very real aspect of doing really anything in life. So we're gonna talk a little bit about problems I had this year, and we're gonna talk about how to accept failure in a healthy way and using it to build yourself up going forward. Because I know a lot of people let failure get in the way of them and achieving their goals, which I think is really sad, honestly. But without further ado, I'll talk about some shit that happened this year. There we go. All right, now without further ado, let's talk. So, the two biggest ones I can think of, I'll kind of roll last year's failures into it as well. I forget if this even happened this year. I don't think it did. Maybe it did. This was a long fucking year. I kind of forgot what happened. But, anyways, the two biggest I can think of this year is that we were trying to get our sheep flock up. We only had the two ewes that we got for free from that farm in Ishpeming. And they were doing good for a while. I mean, we got them basically fucking right when we moved here. So, that was kind of nice. Because sheep are expensive. Goats are basically, you can get a goat for free pretty much any time of the year if you want to. You got to find good ones, obviously. But you can get them for free or for like $50. Sheep, you're talking 200 to 400 bucks a head. And we paid 200 bucks for both the rams that we got this year. You may be thinking, why would you buy two rams? You only need one. Let me tell you, they're dead. Both of them are dead. One of the ewes is dead. Um, we bought a baby ram, like a ram lamb, which I like that that chain of words, ram lamb. That's fucking it's cute. He was cool. I don't remember if he's in any videos that I uploaded. Probably not. I didn't really make an effort of documenting things this year. It's been fucking busy. But he was really cute. He was cool. Really good with people. I liked him, but he couldn't fucking he couldn't blend into the herd. No one looked after him. The sheep didn't even look after him. It was just kind of sad. So he hung around with all the other baby goats that we had this year. Well, I can talk about that too, I suppose. He hung around all the baby goats, and the baby goats. The daughter of the one, uh, she doesn't really look after her, so they were just kind of together. Kindred spirits. Uh, but we're not entirely sure what happened, but we think he drowned because we think one of the goats knocked him into the fucking pond when they were grazing near the edge of the pond, which is shitty. We never found his body, but there's a lot of stuff out there that carrion that picks on dead shit pretty quick. So we just assume he drowned or something like that because there would have been more evidence of an attack if it was an attack. And he was getting way too fat to get picked up by like an eagle or something, so probably wasn't that. Second one, we're like, okay, so we can't start because we don't the ewes are not used to dealing with young additions of sheep into the flock. So we're gonna have to start with an older one that can kind of assert his dominance and fucking bring him in. So I drive down to Marshfield, which is about fucking 3 hours from here, and I talked to a gal, real nice gal, real nice place. She had a real operation going on. It was fucking nice, very controlled. Down in actual farm country. I kind of just live in the middle of fucking nowhere. Not a lot of, well, there's farmers up in Saxon, but not many around here. There's a few. There's a guy that raises cattle up the road, and I think some of those pigs a little bit away from here. But it's not. You don't have farm next to farm next to farm up here. It's mostly just fucking forest and vacation homes and shit. So I go down to Marshfield and I grab this ram. I think it's a yearling. It was when you're talking about sheep and goats, probably cows too. I have no idea. A yearling is an animal that's about a year old, so it's like going past its first year. They're not quite full size yet, but they're like capable and competent. They're basically an adult, but they're not quite at the best, like the biggest they can be quite yet. It takes a little bit longer for them to finish off. So we got him. He was a yearling. He looked pretty stout. He looked pretty. He had a lot of energy and he had a lot of kick. He was hard to wrangle from the flock when we loaded him up. So I was pretty confident. The gal seemed like she knew what she was doing. She explained a bunch of stuff about genetics to me, which was really cool. I don't really remember most of it, but it was cool that she knew it. Um, and I took him back up here, and he was doing pretty good for a while. I mean, he was small compared to the other sheep, and especially the goats. But he was trying. I don't necessarily know if he fucking asserted himself enough with the fucking sheep though. So I don't know how that worked out. But basically, I went over there one day to check on him like I do. I usually check on him twice a day. And he was laying in the house because I was going to give him food and everyone came out. And I'm like, huh, interesting. The guy's not out here. The fucking ram's not out. So I tossed the food in, checked the houses, and sure as shit, he's laying in the back of the house, not dead. He was fucking barely alive. So I'm like, ah, fuck, here we go. So I go into the barn, turn the we got a kerosene heater in there, so I turned that on. Got everything like comfy. I drug him in there. I was hugging him so that we had a little bit of heat on him because I wasn't sure what was wrong with him. I thought it was hypothermia, but sheep getting hypothermia. It wasn't even that cold. It's fucking ridiculous. But I think it was blunt force trauma. I think he got like rammed in the house, and that fucked him up really bad. But I got him into the barn. I was giving him some body heat. He was next to the heater, and he just died. Fucking probably about 5 minutes later, and that was fucking sad. Fortunately, he was big enough that we could eat him. You know, the problem is when you have like a baby die, it's like what the fuck are you gonna do with it? Usually just bury him, but we actually were able to cut him up and have him, which $200 for $200 for one fucking sheep to eat, and he wasn't even that big. That wasn't really a good trade off. And then the lamb we couldn't find, so that was just 200. That was $400. $400. It's a lot of money when you're me. $400 wasted this year on shit that didn't work out. He might have gotten the one ewe pregnant, maybe. I don't know. He was assertive, but I don't know if he was assertive enough. So we'll be lucky if that ewe is pregnant. I don't think it is, but we're gonna have to find out. That would be really fucking nice, though. Holy shit, because we're gonna have to fucking go in and buy some stuff. I know a breeder in town that does Icelandic sheep, and they actually know what the fuck they're doing. They're a real operation, but they charge a lot of money, so we're probably gonna have to do that. But if she's pregnant and she gives birth to a decent amount of, like, even two, if she gives birth to two ewes or a ram and a ewe, if two rams would suck. We don't need two rams, but if we at least get one other ewe out of that, I think we'll be fine. But if she isn't pregnant, we're probably gonna have to buy two more sheep, and that's another fucking probably $400 to $600. I gotta fucking throw it on the toilet, and we're gonna have to like lock them in somewhere because I'm really getting sick of these guys. Oh, I didn't even tell this story. So we had two ewes. We got three for free from Ishpeming. We had two because we killed the eldest one because she was 9. She was pushing the end of her life anyway. One of them kept getting out. We called her the fat sheep because she was just like kind of rotund. It was because of the wool. She wasn't actually fat. She was actually skinnier than the other one, but her wool was fucking ridiculous. She got out on the east side, which faces the easement, and she must have got chased down by coyotes because she was dead. We found her in the neighbor's property, right on the border. Basically a husk. All the meat was fucking scraped off the bones. You had the fucking pelt right there. I was all ripped up, bloody, fucked up. So yeah, that was just that was there. and that was annoying because we had the sheep for 2 years without incident. And as soon as we got some fucking rams in the picture, the fucking other ewe just dies. It's like, oh, good. That was the sheep don't play very well. They don't play well with the flock because they're fighting too much because there's not enough sheep for them to have like enough fucking force against the goats, and there's too many goats. But the goats are stable. I don't have that many problem with the fucking goats. I mean, they look after themselves. They're strong. I've never had one of them die. Uh, none of them have been fucking predated. The only deaths I've had with goats was births, so like fucking stillbirths or babies that died coming out. Uh, and then one incident where we got a really fucked up goat from one of our neighbors that we should have just killed immediately. She died giving birth, or at least she became paralyzed giving birth. We had to kill her. I think we only had two stillbirths this year. Yeah, we had two stillbirths, and we had one that came out and died pretty much immediately. And that was one of the stillbirths, and one of the ones that died immediately came from that goat that we had to kill because she got paralyzed. Uh, and then the other still was from this older goat that we got named Dally. It's the black one. If you've seen previous videos, it's the black goat. She's getting a little up there in years. She's just kind of ornery, but she puts out good milk. She puts out a lot of milk, and it's fucking like high quality. So we're hoping we can get at least one more year out of her. We're gonna have to see. I hope it doesn't go wrong. But I think she crushed her kid that came out. I don't think it was a still. I think she crushed the kid while she was giving birth. The other, because she gave birth to three. Two of them lived. One of them was dead, but I think it got crushed. I'm not entirely sure. It was fucking sad though. It would have been nice to have fucking three of them because I think, yeah, the still was a girl. So I'm like, yeah, it would have been nice to have another fucking doe, but of course not. At least she gave birth to one of the does that lived and still with us right now because we sold some of the rams. Or not the rams, the fucking bucks. Oh, these fucking terms. Anyways, so there's a lot of that going on. So I mean, it was very mixed, very mixed. I try things and sometimes they work out. Sometimes you're at the whim of forces outside of your control. It's not necessarily, you don't get a lot of say in a lot of this shit. It's like when you're helping things birth. I mean, there's only so much. Like if you have a stillborn coming out, first of all, it's one of the most horrendous things you've ever seen. Especially if it's still in the amniotic sac. It's fucking bizarre. And popping that amniotic sac, oh, you better not get queasy easy. Oh, that shit is fucking horrendous. That is the worst smell I think I've ever smelled in my entire fucking life. I actually vomited. It was that fucking bad. It was horrible. That was, oh my god, that was in January. It was fucking cold then. Oh, man. Yeah, that was a tough one. But fortunately, all of our other goats are in a lot better shape than that. And that's how you have to look at it. It's like when you have failures like that with the sheep, it's frustrating because it's like we could have done more, but how much more could we have done? I mean, we can't be there all the time. We don't have, our land's a lot more raw. It's a lot rougher. So like when bad things happen, like if the ram got knocked into the pond, like what the fuck are we supposed to do about that? It's all about, it's about cultivating a good flock dynamic and having all the animals kind of work off each other and play together. We don't have a problem with the goats. The sheep, because there's so few of them and they're smaller, they just fucking they fucking don't play well. That's the biggest issue we've had. So we only have one sheep right now. And we're hoping that it gets really good with the goats because it doesn't have a choice. And because it'll get good with the goats, hopefully, that means when we introduce a ram into the flock, that ram, because it's going to be playing well with the sheep, is going to play well with the goats. We're going to have to see though. I mean, they've got their own pecking order for food and all that shit, so that's can't really avoid that. What else? What else fucked up? Well, I've got this bobcat killing my chickens. I have to build a run outside of the fucking coop now. I only have 4 chickens left, which rooster and 3 hens, which is good enough. I mean, I'll be able to get eggs starting in the fucking spring enough to get by. And I've got some eggs, and I've got eggs under ash right now, so I'm fine on eggs. But it's just frustrating. You start with 20 chickens. My flock probably got as big as like 35, 40. And then just this fucking bobcat, one by one, takes these fucking chickens out. It's like, dude. And it's like smart. This fucking thing is smart. It knows when I'm going to shut it. It knows when I'm not there. It knows when I'm going to shut it. It fucking knows. It fucking just plucks them off. So what I'm thinking is, I'm going to be building the rock solid fucking impenetrable run right outside the coop out there. And we'll see how that goes. Because I can let them out when I'm there. Or like when I'm like working in the farm field, I can let them out. And then if I just feed them when I want them to go back into the run, it's not that big of a deal. I just don't want them locked up too much, you know. I want to be able to get their own food, so I don't have to feed them as much because it saves me money. That's kind of the whole point of all this. So I want to be able to free range, but I mean free ranging in this specific area because there's a huge swamp back there. A whole bunch of fucking predators and shit live back in that swamp. It just hasn't been working out the best. And there's a fucking skunk that keeps eating my fucking eggs. That's really cool. I actually had an opportunity to shoot him, but I was like, I mean, is he really, like, he's not killing my chickens, so I can't really even fucking, whatever, you know, I'll figure it out. Anyways, so that was a failure. I have to fucking, you know, ramp up and brood some more chickens this fucking spring, because 4 is not going to be enough. I need at least fucking 15 or 20. Especially, I mean, you can make a decent amount of money on those fucking eggs. We had a lot of failures with bantams this fucking spring because we tried raising with other chickens. Well, first we raised them with ducks. That was a horrible idea. You never raise anything with ducks. Ducks are fucking gross. They're disgusting. They're just, I don't like ducks. I gotta be honest with you. Once they're adults, they're great. But like, raising them that fucking 20 weeks to get to maturity is fucking horrible. I'm hoping to build a better brooder to make it easier to raise these fucking things. But like, oh my god, they're messy. They're ridiculous. And it fucking smells like shit because there's shit in water and bedding all fucking together. It's hard to clean. It's fucking bad, man. Ducks are fucking a nightmare to raise. We were going to do geese this year, but there were no geese available for whatever fucking reason, so we couldn't. I've heard geese, and they're louder, but they're a lot easier to fucking deal with than ducks. And they're bigger, so they, like, that leads into another thing that fucked up, is, oh, man, it's all flooding back to me. See? It's not as easy as you think. Everything is not all peachy keen. You gotta be ready for problems. You gotta be ready for failures. It's a big one. So, earlier, I think this was last year. I'm almost positive. I had too much going on this year to fucking do this. I placed an order for 30 ducks, right? Because we have a big-ass pond. I thought it'd be like, hey, 30 ducks? Yeah, they can fucking probably all eat for free, and we can just take some out and fucking, you know, thin out the herd in the fucking fall and, you know, let them breed and fucking repopulate in the spring. So I bought 30. We have 2. Use your head to figure out what happened there. Ducks are too small and they're too docile to be out in a place where there are potential predators. We also based them in a bad area. We should have ran them in the paddock, not next to the pond in a separate area. Because if they're near the goats, things are going to fuck with them. When they're not near the goats, things fuck with them. And fucking, like eagles and like fucking owls especially. Owls can fucking eat, like they can swoop down, get these fucking things when they're full sized, like full adults, and just kill them. We found fucking dead duck bodies all over the place in the South fucking forest because fucking owls just come out, killed like fucking 2 or 3 of them a day, and just flew back and fucking ate them. It's like, okay, cool. So we can do ducks with geese, but ducks by themselves, it's just not going to work. The only 2 ducks left were the smart ones. They didn't go onto the main pond for the most part, and they stayed near the goats. You know, they were smart. But the other ones, they were not that smart. So that was a lot of money too. That was like fucking 200 something bucks to get all those fucking, get all those ducklings. And then you raise them for 20 weeks to get full sized, and then they just die. It's like, oh, great, awesome. Good use of 20 fucking weeks. That doesn't sound like a lot of time, but remember, there's 52 weeks in a year. 20 weeks is a long fucking time. Birds are a big commitment. And when they die, it sucks. Because we haven't had any success with having, you know, any of our hens go broody and actually raise our own fucking birds. We have to do it ourselves. It's fucking hard. It's a lot of attention. It's a lot of care. A lot of resources goes into fucking raising those birds. And if they just keep dying, it's not even fucking worth it. So we got to come up with better strategies. We got to come up with a good mix. We got to figure out what works best. Because the geese can be fully terrestrial if they want to be. And they tend to have a preference towards terrestrial fucking living. So I think because they're bigger and they're not going to be on the pond as much, that's going to give them a lot better chance of not getting killed. If we just like reinforce them being with the fucking goats, I think that'll be fine. But anything else? Those are the big ones. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, that's a lot of problems. I mean, we run into a lot of fucking problems doing the shit that we've done. There are a few times, especially with the duck situation, that fucking really annoyed me. And it makes you think, like, man, why am I, what, like, I'm a fucking retard. Why am I even trying? But that's the philosophical point of this whole video, to bring it all full circle, is this. You can't let failure stop you from trying. Even when you have shit dying in your fucking arms and you're seeing horrific shit that that gives you nightmares. Some of the shit that I've seen. Mainly that goat that failed giving birth and then got paralyzed and we had to kill. That gave me fucking nightmares for like a week. It was fucking horrible. The duality of failure is that you know what not to do next time. You know how to avoid the situation that you got into that caused you to fail. And even if it's a very large failure, like losing 28 ducks, uh, you learned something. You learned a lot. From that, I learned maybe don't run 30 ducks at a time. Something totally new. Maybe figure out what works and then do it. Don't fucking go full bore into it when you're not fucking sure of what's going to happen. You just make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. That's a big fucking one. Don't make assumptions. Uh, you can't let things like this get in your way. It's sad. It's frustrating. It's fucking horrible. But no one starts out knowing what to do. And this is no matter what. I mean, the thing with this, with livestock and shit like that, is when you fail, things die. So it's very, the stakes are very high, relatively speaking. But like, when it comes to anything, you're talking like computer programming, learning how to play like a really complex board game or anything like that. No one knows what the fuck they're doing to start off. They don't. You have to figure it out. And if you let failure early on stop you, you're never going to find out because you have to fail. You have to fail. There is no such thing as doing something perfectly, 100% all the time without failure. It's not going to happen. Not even kind of. You're going to fail a lot doing anything that matters. Anything with weight. Anything that fucking has any importance. Anything. You're going to fail. You're going to have problems. You're going to have a fucking hard time. That's just life. And when things work out, you feel even better because that means you didn't fuck up and it worked out. But it's all a time thing. One moment where you're like, oh, it's working out. Next moment could be a failure. You don't know. You got to be ready for that. You can't let it fuck with you. You can't let it ruin your progress. You have to fucking, don't ignore failure. Don't be one of those fucking people. Think about it. Meditate on it. Make sure you fucking get everything you can from that fuck up, from that incident, from fucking, like, from your, it's the only way to get better. It's the only way. Otherwise, you're going to be stagnant and you're going to be the same fucking person that you've been your entire fucking life. You're never going to get better. If you don't fucking fail, well, if you fail and don't learn from it, if you're not going to learn from your failures, don't even fucking try. But when you fail, if you can fucking think about it and reason what happened, there's not a more powerful force in the fucking, in the fucking human condition than learning from failure. And it's frustrating because I know so many people that get discouraged very easily by failure and they don't think they can do shit because they fuck up like one or two things. And they let it get to them. It's just sad. You gotta hang in there. You gotta fucking work it out. And my big thing is I always picture myself 10 years from now. Where I'm gonna be, when I'm gonna know, what I'm gonna have done. And that is fucking motivating. Even if in the moment I got a lot of shit going on, things are going wrong, it's fucked up. Thinking about where I'm going to be in 10 years, the shit I'm going to know, what I'm going to have done, and all of that doesn't matter. All my animals could die right now from some. They could get fucking dropsy and just die. All of them. I'd still fucking try. I wouldn't give up. I don't fucking care. It would suck dick. I'd be really upset. But now I know. And you have to figure that shit out. And that goes for anything. Hopefully you're not seeing shit die, because that's about as high stakes as it gets. So think about that comparatively speaking. You know, when you're failing at fucking, I don't know, some computer thing, just think like, you know, hey, it kind of sucks that this didn't work out, but at least I'm not watching shit die by my own fucking shortcomings and fucking lack of planning. Uh, kind of makes it easier, huh? I think that's about it. This is getting pretty long, so I'm gonna tap out. I hope you guys have a good Christmas. Hope you guys had a good year. Hope it was a productive year. I hope you did a lot of good shit. And yeah, bye.